Threads of Gold, Reimagining the Etruscan Past in Victorian Ornament. Inspired by the extraordinary Italian archaeological excavations in the early 19th century, Etruscan revival jewellery offers a gorgeous glimpse into the Asian world. The historical finds on the Etruscan civilization emerged on the coast of Italy near present-day Tuscany, where the 19th century explorers discovered ancient Etruscan tombs containing intricate jewellery made of rich yellow gold, unlikely anything that has been seen before. Despite dating back thousands of years, roughly talking about the 7th century before Christ, the bold and the ornament look fit right in within the sensibilities of the Victorian era, and indefensive or Etruscan-inspired jewellery ensued. Through little remains of the Etruscan civilization, these stunning reproduction pieces serve as a love letter from the Victorian era jewels to the Etruscan artisans. With that note, let's start defining first the Etruscans. The Etruscans were a pre-Roman civilization flourishing in the central Italy, talking about the time periods of the 9th century before Christ till the 1st before Christ. We're discovering through excavation and antiquarian scholarships in the 17th century, they became a subject of fascination due to their enigmatic language, distinct artistic styles, and sophisticated rural practices. The Etruscan revival emerged as a transdisciplinary movement influencing decorative arts, architecture, political symbolism, and scientific inquiry into Italian pre-classical past. The revival began with the large-scale excavation of tombs in Tarquinia, Cerveteri, and Bulci during the 18th and the 19th century. Tumuli, burial wounds, wall paintings, and elaborate grave goods reveal advanced metalworking, especially in gold and bronze, distinct with black glaze ceramics called butero, highly developed funerary iconography, and social stratification that reflects in tombs architecture. This finding challenged the early assumptions that pre-Roman Italy lacked of complexity, promoting a scientific reevaluation. But concentrated on the Etruscan goldsmith, like other areas of the Etruscan civilization, is a result of historical periods and our knowledge of the jewelry making skills which were found in these royal tombs. If we examine the history of the Etruscans, we can clearly trace how the artistic tradition inspired numerous works that they were later reinterpreted during the Etruscan revival. Very little jewelry from this time, from the Iron Age of the Villanovan period in the Etruscan times, it's close to us. We are talking about the era of the 11th century till the 7th century before Christ. The Villanovanan Etruscans seem to have left behind few luxury items. However, the jewelry that does exist attests to a greater effort to put into production decorative objects in Etruria. Jewelry was a status of symbol and signified, and so it does today, wealth and prosperity. Both pottery and jewellery from these periods are decorated with swastikas, zigzag patterns, and triangles. During the Orientalizing period, Etruscan gold jewellery advanced rapidly in style and technique, driven by a broad trade of networks in the Near East influences. Immigrant artisans introduced granulation, filigrane, and repousse to southern Etruria, where cities like Cerveteri, Tarquinia, and Ventulonia produced increasingly sophisticated pieces. Geometric motifs gave way to Orientalian and Greek-inspired florals and figurine designs, as well as symbolic forms like fibula and bulla and scaragraph. Northern flavored simple works made extremely fine gold particles called pluvisviocco. Although these techniques were foreign in origin, Etruscan goldsmiths mastered and refined them, working mainly with 18-karat gold alloys. Their creation from the 7th to the 6th centuries before Christ stand as some of the finest examples of Asian Mediterranean craftsmiths and cross-cultural artistic exchange. Among the jewelry found in the archive period, tombs were large disc earrings. The techniques were difficult to define, but they indeed used granulation in concentrated patterns, and they also used filigrane and glass paste. This was probably a trend of the time, as is found in several tombs. These earrings originally are from Lydian jewelry, and they became a fashion trend in the archive period, with a strong Greek influence spreading in the second half of the 6th century before Christ. Earrings were mostly made in Vultuvius, and they were really widespread. Heavy pendants became fashionable along with full elements from the Near East and all sorts of other influences that the Etruscans retrieved from anywhere in the Mediterranean. The fibula became an object closer to jewelry in the archive period. In the Paeano-Venetian period, they were mainly made of bronze, but nevertheless they became an object of decoration. During the classical period, Etruscan jewelry experienced a marked decline in technical complexity. By the 5th century before Christ, sophisticated techniques such as filigrane and granulation fell out of use, while repoussé remained prevalent, particularly on funerary bands, necklaces, and bullae. Jewelry's form evolved in response of contemporary fashion. Large, elaborate earrings, often with grape clusters, long necklace, heavy pendant, and decorative bullaes were worn by both of men and women, with women displayed particular ornaments themselves, including tiaras, bracelets, and hair spirals. Throughout the 5th and the 4th centuries before Christ, layered necklaces and motif opponent earrings were popular, and in the early 3rd century BC, pendants, bullae, and torch remained in use, sometimes incorporating natural elements and materials such as animal hairs and feathers. In the late classical period, jewelry became increasingly integrated with the body, complemented other personal ornaments, and reflect both the trends toward partial nudity, and overall the periods illustrate a shift from technical innovation towards decorative fashion and social displays. In the Hellenistic period, styles remained popular throughout the Roman. The Hellenistic period was characterized by the decline in technique and overly complex shapes and decoration. Jewelry became unisex and was worn by people whether naked or clothing. Paintings in women were often shown only wearing slippers and a necklace, and heavy necklaces on the classical period were now replaced by standards of beads and torch. Entering now the Etruscan revival, we have to explain first the main technique of the Etruscan, la granulazione. Granulation is an ancient goldsmith technique involving the application of tiny gold spheres into metallic surface to create a decorative pattern. Originating in Mesopotamia, it spread throughout the Mediterranean and it reached its peak among the Etruscans, who produced highly sophisticated jewelry. The process required melting small gold fragments and affixing them with copper soles and then heating them to achieve bonding. Although it declined over the centuries, granulation was later rediscovered and it remains practiced by some contemporary goldsmiths. Interest in golden goldsmiths surged in the late 18th and early 19th century following the excavations of Pompeii and Herculaneum, which revealed exceptionally refined jewelry. Goldsmiths began to produce pieces inspired in ancient techniques, giving a rise to the Etruscan revival. Notable practitioners, including Castellani workshop, through Satan-aided bonding methods remained elusive. A technical advancement occurred in the 1834 when Harry Littledale patented a braided process using copper compounds approximating the Asian granulation techniques. The revival coincides with the Victorian era that comes from the 1837 to the 19th century, a period of prosperity and technical innovation and fascination with the archaeology. Queen Victoria tasted influence in society, encouraged the adaptation of historical motifs, and the Etruscan-inspired jewelry incorporated classical forms, mythological symbols, and elaborated design aligned with the Victorian opulence. Key artistic features include granulation, filigrane, matte finish, a vividly colored gemstones reflecting both historical homage and contemporary aesthetic preference. Etruscan Bible jewelry examines and exemplifies the intersection of archaeology discovery and technical innovation and artistic creativity, translating the Asian techniques into a characteristic and creativity contributing to the European and the American decorative arts. These pieces demonstrate the indubitable impact of the Etruscan artifacts and cultural aesthetic values. With conclusion, the Etruscan Bible represents a unique fusion of the historical scholarship, artistic inspiration, and cultural identity. Emerging from archaeology discoveries, it shaped the decorative arts, informed our technological developments in jewelry making, and reinforced an appreciation of Asian Mediterranean civilization. These movements underscore how Asian techniques, motifs, and aesthetics can inspire creativity and scholarly engagement across centuries.